can we get to a bit of an elephant in the room here with
what you got
with the Philadelphia Eagles? All right, so you ever listen to lots of people say something and then you're like, you got to kind of parse what is really being said? Mm-hmm. So this whole week, from before the game through after the game, there's a lot of talk about the Eagles being too passive early, not being aggressive enough early, to the point where Jalen Hurts said something. A.J. Brown has been very vocal about this. We all know that it hasn't worked much the first couple weeks the way they've played. Then they finally opened up when they were down in the game on Sunday. And then Donovan McNabb was on the afternoon show on Monday talking about the passing game, talking about the way they approach offense here with Patullo and Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. And something Donovan said has stuck out to me because I think he hit the nail on the head, whether or not you want to believe him or not. Here's Donovan on Monday.
To me, and I'm going to put it out there, it seems that they don't trust Jalen. And I know that's a bombshell that I just lit the fuse, because it seems to me like they don't trust Jalen enough, who's your MVP of the Super Bowl, who's taking you to 2 Super Bowls and also helped you win the game in the second half of a lot of games that he's played in this year. It seems to me like they're not utilizing his ability to be able to spread the ball around and push the ball downfield. When I look at this offense, it's number one thing that it starts with to me is they need to establish the passing game to open up the run with this team this year.
All right, so Donovan, I think he knew what he was saying. He wasn't sugarcoating it. He said he doesn't believe the Eagles fully trust Jalen Hurts. And I think Donovan McNabb is 1,000% right on this. And let me be clear. I think they should trust him more. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to turn the ball over 4 times on Sunday if they let him throw the ball. I think Jalen Hurts has shown for almost his entire career, other than probably 2023 and a little bit of last year, that he doesn't throw the ball into the other team much. He doesn't turn the ball over much. He's smart with the football. He's not reckless. But I think it's pretty clear after watching the Eagles' offense the first 3 weeks, they don't trust him. It's impossible for me to look at the team and for me to look at the players they have and say, yeah, they trust him. I mean, it feels like we all trust him more than the Eagles trust him. It feels like WIP callers trust him more than Nick Sirianni does, because they didn't throw the football on Sunday with any conviction until they had no choice, until they were down 19 points, until, like Hugh Douglas says, they changed the play caller or whatever the hell happened. But whatever the plan was on Sunday, that was conservative. 3rd down and 10 in their own territory. They're handing off on draws. That's not something you do if you trust your quarterback. 215-592-9494. We've had a lot of discussions about Jalen already this season, how he's playing, what we're expecting. But deep down, do you think the Eagles trust this guy? Because they don't call the game like they trust him. That's not what my eyes tell me. Hugh, what do you feel on this? Like, deep down, do you think the coaching staff trusts Jalen Hurts?
You know what? Given the way Donovan said that, and I just looked at the first couple of we only played 3. Looked at the 3 games that we played in, and with my theory that Jalen took over play calling towards the end, that was the game that. Don't be poo-pooing what I'm talking about, because I'm dropping science over here. But you look at the attempts, in that last game compared to the first 2. The average on the first 2 was like 22 attempts in the first 2 games. Right now. You can make an argument that that's because we have such a strong running game, but you can also say that Saquon really didn't get off to a rousing start that we thought he would get off.
Like last year, you can make that case, right? Because they were running it so well. Why throw it?
Yes,
but that hasn't been the season.
And I would say that from my reckless speculation from a week ago,
here we go,
and the fact that there were 32 attempts in this game, and me feeling like Jalen kind of took the reins of that thing, that kind of plays into what's being said.
So let me throw this at you. He had 32 attempts Sunday?
Yes.
24 were in the second half when they had no choice,
yes.
Right? So in the first half of the game, Jalen Hurts threw the ball 8 times on Sunday. Can I just throw this number at you? Because this one startled me when I looked. I looked this morning at the attempts for every quarterback in the NFL so far. Mac Jones, who's a backup, right? Like he moved around the league, and now he's a backup. He's the Niners' backup. He had to fill in the last 2 weeks because Brock Purdy got hurt and has missed the last 2 games. In the last 2 games, Kyle Shanahan has asked Mac Jones to throw the football more than Jalen Hurts has thrown it in 3 games. Mac Jones has 80 attempts in 2 games. So Shanahan trusted him to throw on average 40 times in each in the last 2 games. Jalen Hurts has thrown less than that in 3 total football games. And it hasn't been like they've been up a lot, right? Like, last year they were up Of course, why you're throwing the football if you're up 10 points in the fourth quarter, you're running the clock out. That hasn't been this year, right? The first couple games have been super close. I mean, they've been up a score maybe, or it's tight in the fourth quarter or whatever. So the game is still, we got to get first downs, we got to move the football. I think deep down the Eagles coaching staff doesn't trust Jalen Hurts to not turn the ball over. I think that is the bottom line. Otherwise, why aren't we throwing the ball? Why aren't we being aggressive with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? It's been the story of the last 2 weeks. They should be aggressive. Will they be aggressive? Well, the elephant in the room is, why aren't they aggressive? They're either, I want to make sure I say this kindly, they're either not seeing the game the way we are, and AJ is, or they don't trust the quarterback. I can't see another alternative to what's going on here.
You know what's funny? I think we kind of did the same thing, just doing a little bit of research. And I kind of looked up Jalen's contemporary. In this case, I looked at Justin Herbert's numbers from this year compared to last year.
Same draft class, same age, all that.
Yeah. And last year, I only did the first 3 games. He didn't throw the ball as much. He had, in last year, the first 3 games, he had a total of like, what, the quick math on that is like 50-something%, 64 passes that he's thrown. He threw in the first 3 games last year.
Okay.
He's thrown more this year. Because you're talking about last week, 28 for 47.
Yep.
The week before that, 19, 27, 25, 34. So they're trusting him a little bit more. And it's always been my thought process that when you have a quarterback, especially one that has accomplished as much as Jalen has accomplished, you want to take the governor off, especially when you talk about the game that he had last year in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so I would think that in order to loosen up, because the conventional wisdom tells me that in order to make the running game as potent as you can, you got to throw the football. You got to take those guys out of the box because as a defensive coordinator, my first objective would be to stop the run.
Of course.
Because that was your bread and butter. So now I'm going to make you throw the football. And plus, we got 2 dynamic receivers that we paid a lot of money to. We were the first to kind of do it, and then everybody else kind of followed suit. So it only makes sense that you get those 2 guys involved as quickly as possible to help the running game. And that really hasn't been the case this year.
I think the Herbert example is really interesting because last year, you went back and looked, the Chargers were a run-based team, just like the Eagles were. I mean, the Eagles were better at it, and they had better players, and they won the Super Bowl. But the Chargers made the playoffs last year running the ball a lot. They didn't ask Herbert last year to throw it 35, 40 times a game. And then this year, as seemingly he's progressed, right? They have the same head coach, and they've kind of progressed their program. He's thrown it more. They put it more on him. We're not doing that. I can't come up with any other explanation. Donovan said it, and it was like, you ever hear something, and you're like, yeah. I mean, like, that. He's right. And I know he said it, and he's like, oh, I'm going to say it, and people aren't going to be happy. Sometimes people don't like the truth.
Elephant in the room?
The elephant in the room. So,
You just couldn't wait to play that.
He had that one ready. The truth is they don't trust him. Kyle, what do you think on this?
No, I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, what other reason would they have for not doing some of the things you brought up, like the 3rd and 15s, like every other team and pretty much every other quarterback, like besides ones that teams clearly shouldn't trust.
You're like rookies, right? Or young guys,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
or bad ones.
You're giving up basically. You're conceding the set of downs there, and then you're just going to 4th down. You're punting. Like, if we have a 3rd and 15, and you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the line that we have, and all these weapons, and Jalen Hurts, I'll throw him in there because I think they should trust him more than they do. Then why wouldn't you go for that? I think they're spooked a little bit by, I think, what happened in 2023 and then what carried over into the beginning of 2024, and that when they did air it out, there was a time, we can be honest about this thing, is that they were kind of a turnover machine for a variety of reasons, whoever you want to put that on. But and then I think they went too far the other way, like they overcorrected, and now they got away with it because they had a ridiculously good running game. It was Saquon last year, but it looks like they're sort of they're keeping that same approach, but without the running game to be able to help get away with it. So I don't know. I think it's pretty clear to me that that's the reason why they haven't fully opened this thing up yet.
I mean, last year, it made sense, Hugh. If you're running the football that well, right, and you have a defense that good, and you're up in games in the 4th quarter. I remember they had that game against Pittsburgh where they held the ball the final 10 minutes. Yeah, like, why would you throw it much, right? Just run the football, run the clock out, dominate up front.
Totally agree.
That hasn't been the team this year. And they've seen that. They've seen the same thing the rest of us have, and yet they're still throwing the ball at a very small clip.